Alright, we are on the next part. This is part 6, I believe, so let's continue. So, I think we read some of this already, so we'll start at this sentence. So, but whether Nimrod and his immediate adherents survived and retained possession of Babylon, or transferred their seat of government to Nineveh and founded the great Iranian Empire, or whether that empire and city were founded by Ashur and the sons of Shem, is still subject to dispute. So the Assyrian Empire is like, I think, like one of the things that they found over there, and after it's after the Akkadian Empire, if I'm not mistaken. Take a close look. So there's these people who like, and I looked it up too, and it's Ashur. This is supposed to be like, I think maybe a son of Shem or something like that, or like, and I think in Assyrian text they consider him like above Anu, because I think they have Anu in their text as well. I'm pretty sure. I'd have to double check, but I really don't know much about the Assyrian Empire, honestly. But like I did do some research from the last video, and that's pretty much what I found. Can't recall all of it, but that's the best I can sum up. Alright, so we find Nimrod, however, under the well-known title of Elorus, at the head of the two Chaldaean dynasties mentioned above. Okay, so I don't know this. I think this is like kind of like outdated information, but because why would he say Nimrod? Would be Elorus, because like Elorus is like pre-flood, and then Nimrod is like, it's like a son of one of the kings that was like after the flood. So like there's Noah and then like the flood, and that's like the 10th king. And I think Elorus here is like Alulim, which is like the first dynasty of Sumeria. But see, they don't use Sumeria here, they're using Chaldea. So if we continue, at the head of the two Chaldean dynasties mentioned above, but these appear rather to refer to the antediluvian patriarchs than to the proper kings of Chaldea. Okay, but these appear rather to refer to the pre-flood patriarchs than to the proper kings. Yeah, see? I guess that was like known at that time in the 1800s, of like people associating Nimrod with Elorus, but I guess because all this stuff was like being figured out and like rediscovered, I guess, essentially in like the 1800s. So it's really interesting to pick apart what people were first saying, or maybe even saying before, because we don't really get that narrative. We kind of do sometimes, but there's a lot more that goes into like these old ideas and where they came from, because some of it is consistent, like for instance like Berosus and what he's talking about and how it lines up with like some of the stuff that was actually discovered there. That's what I have found from this book. So continuing, the first dynasty of Chaldean kings is placed almost by all chronologists as the first Iranian dynasty, that of Nimrod under the name of Avetchius. See, this would be like maybe either outdated information or like changed information, because I don't think I've ever heard the name Avetchius. Who is the Persian Avetchius? Yeah, see, there's an unknown person named Avetchius. I don't know where that name comes from. And for like Nimrod to be the first dynasty of the Chaldean Empire. Okay, so I guess there'd be Chaldea, but I can't tell if this book is saying there's like considering the pre-flood kings. I can't really recall that. Maybe it did mention that, I just can't remember, but I'm pretty sure like they're saying that the first Chaldean king is the first Iranian dynasty. So that, yeah, I guess that is outdated information, or like I said, it was changed. Avexius, see, it's like Avicius or Avexius is also placed by Polyhistor as the first Chaldean king. So, let me look up who the first Chaldean king is. Who is the first Chaldean king? Yeah, Nabopolassar, because that's the Neo-Babylonian Empire, right? And then that's like now considered biblically like to line up with the book of Ezekiel, right? But then, oh, I see. Okay, yeah, well, because Cyrus the Great founded the Iranian dynasty, so maybe Avecius is Cyrus. Maybe that's Cyrus. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that's the same name. Maybe that's like a different way of saying it. And he's but see, the first, it says here, the first Chaldean king was in Babylonia, and it was Nabopolassar. And that's, let's see, it says here that Nabopolassar is recognized as the founder of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, or the Chaldean Empire, often associated with the Chaldean dynasty, which he, Nabopolassar, established after revolting against Assyrian control in the late 7th century BCE. So that's like 600 BCE, something like that, somewhere around then. So I guess after the Assyrian comes the Chaldean. Oh, okay. Oh, alright. Yeah, see, I was like kind of like confused. Look at that. Okay, so Nabopolassar revolted against the Assyrians. So that kind of sounds like Sargon then. Because Sargon also like revolted against Urza Baba, I think that's his name, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if this book will mention that. This book can't mention that. Because I don't understand. Like, all the Sumerian stuff was found out later and transcribed later. But it's like, so what were they working with back then, and what did they have back then? And like, is this book going to say anything in reference to those, like, Akkadian texts? Because, okay, so it goes Akkadian Empire, Assyrian Empire, and then the Neo-Babylonian Empire. Interesting. Okay, so the dynasty of the Arabian kings of Chaldea is placed by Eusebius, and I think is he? I don't know. I think he's a Greek author. I'm gonna look him up. Who is Eusebius? Early Christian historian in 300 to 260 CE or AD, whatever. He was a Christian historian, theologian, and bishop of Caesarea in Palestine, often called the father of church history. Okay, so the dynasty of the Arabian kings is placed by Eusebius. So they have texts saying that those are the Arabian kings. Ambrose who says that. Next in the order of succession. Sorry, it's getting like cold now. We're like in like November and it's getting cold in here. I gotta warm myself up a little bit. They have likewise been supposed to be of a Scythic nation, which broke in upon the empire from the Scythian settlements of Kashgar, and obtained possession either of the entire empire or only of the city of Babylon during the period of its desolation, with the plains of Shinar and the country round the head of the Persian Gulf, from whence they were expelled and discharged themselves upon Palestine as the Pali or Philistines, and upon Egypt as Hyksos or shepherd kings. So Hyksos means shepherd kings. I think Hyksos were like people that came in and ruled Egypt for a time period. So let me break this down. So they're saying that. So there's Civic, which came from Armenia, and then the empire from the Scythian settlements of Kashgar, and then let me look up Kashgar. I can't recall where that's at. Let's see. Kashgar. Let's see. Kashgar Prefecture today is in, well, it's in western China, but it's next to like Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. But it's like, wow, that's pretty far from Mesopotamia. Wow, that's really far from Mesopotamia. Wow. Jeez, that's like across Iran. Which broke upon the empire from the Scythian settlements from Kashgar. So all these people would have come from Central Asia, right? Is this what this is saying? That's the Arabian kings of Chaldea. See, I don't know what that specifically is, so I'll have to see what that is. Because now, like, see, it's one thing, like, just kind of, like, listening and reading to this, but, like, to, like, kind of piece it together, it's kind of, like, Kashgar is so far from, like, what they're saying is, like, Mesopotamia, right? Because that's Chaldea. That's, like, Babylonia, that's Assyria. That's, like, across, like, a whole mountain. Ugh. I'll warm myself up. So I guess, I don't know, I guess they're saying, like, so after the first dynasty, like with Nimrod and all that, these people from the Kashgar Mountains come and rule over Babylon. And that becomes the first Iranian dynasty, right? Or no? I don't know what it means when it means like Arabian kings. Like, I guess we'll just have to keep reading. It's kind of like confusing me. So, yeah, so after, with the plains of, yeah, see, Shinar is supposed to be Sumer, and the country around the head of the Persian Gulf, from whence they were expelled and discharged themselves upon Palestine, Pallium, Egypt. Okay, so the Hyksos and the Shepherd Kings, like, I know that, like, Hyksos to be, like, a group that came in and, like, ruled over Egypt for a time period. That's what they say. But those people, I guess, come from the Kashgar Mountain. Is that what this is saying? It's so, like, the dynasty of the Arabian kings of Chaldea is placed by Eusebius, Sinellus, and others, as well as Burroughs, who's next in the order of succession. And these are Scythic people that came from Kashgar and got control of Babylon. Why is this book saying that? Like, it's just interesting to see these ideas and where they come from. Like, is this guy, like, just, like, kind of, like, because it takes a lot to know this in, like, the 1800s, for sure. Next, in succession, according to Eusebius, and Syncellus, pretty sure it's like another Western historian, or perhaps contemporary with the preceding, came the long line of the great dynasty of the Assyrian kings, who held the empire of the world for 10 or 12 centuries, till their dominion was wrested from them by the Medes in the time of Phoenician Concolores and Sardanapalus of the Greek historians. The different catalogues of the great Assyrian succession that are extant will be found among the dynasties. The overthrow of the Assyrian Empire was followed by several of universal anarchy, bloodshed, and revolution. And it is ascertained that it was during this scene of confusion that Jonah was sent upon his mission to stop its progress at Nineveh. So, Chaldean Empire starts after all this Assyrian overthrow, right? Nabopolassar takes control of the let's see, what is this? The Assyrian Empire. Oh, who did he rebel against? Let me see what this thing says. I'm looking at the text here, and it just says there's like an alliance with the Assyrian Empire and the Medes at the time, but so much revolt led to this. Oh. Interesting. This is really cool information. I never really learned about this in my general studies, or like I said, don't really learn about this in either middle school or high school either. Kind of brush over all this stuff, and they don't even talk about it. Here we go. Arbaces, the leader of the Median insurrection, though he succeeded in throwing off the Assyrian yoke, appears to have failed in his attempt to establish his own sovereignty, nor was the Median kingdom fully consolidated till the reign of Deioces. The catalogues of the Median kings will be found among the dynasties under Phraortes and Cyaxares. The Medes extended their dominion over the great part of Asia, but under Astyages, who was defeated and captured by Cyrus. Oh, okay, so they do know about the kind of general lore of the Persian Empire, or the Achaemenid Empire by Cyrus. The kingdom merged in the Persian Empire. Yeah. So the Babylonians acquired a temporary independence at the fall of the Assyrian Empire. Whoa. Okay, so that's what ChatGPT said, right? There was an alliance. Okay. So the Babylonians acquired a temporary independence at the fall of the Assyrian Empire, but after 2 or 3 short reigns, they were subdued by Sennacherib. Syria also became an independent kingdom and proposed for a time, till again reduced under the Assyrian yoke. Persia at the same time arose and alone maintained its independence against the growing empire of the Medes and new Assyrian dynasty. Oh, okay, so, I guess this is kind of consistent. So, the Assyrians and the Medes had this, strong alliance, and then, a whole, takeover happened with that empire, with the Babylonians creating the Chaldaean Empire. And then, so there was, the alliance kind of, split for a second, and then the Medes kind of, they were building And so so this kind of makes sense how like Cyrus kind of gained some power. Never really found a book that would go into detail about this. Persia at the same time arose and alone maintained its independence against the growing power of the Medes and the new Assyrian dynasty, till the success of Cyrus raised it above them all and vested the empire of the world in the Persian race. Okay. The Medes and the new Assyrian dynasty. So this new Assyrian dynasty. It's gotta be like Nabopolassar. What is it? This is Nabopolassar. The Assyrian Empire revived under Nabonazar, supposed to be the same with the Salmanazar of the scriptures. Of this dynasty, three several catalogs will be found. The ecclesiastical and astronomical canons preserved by Cencelus and the celebrated canon of Ptolemaeus, besides some other notices of the successors of Nabonazar, among the supplemental Chaldaean fragments. The first princes of the line appear to have fixed their residence at Nineveh, and among them we may recognize that Tiglath-Pileser, Sennacherib, and Esarhaddon of the scriptures. Oh, the sentence ends there. Oh, this is like a lot of information. Okay. So, looking at all this, it seems that since Celis has like information about this like Chaldean like astronomical and like I guess religious knowledge, right? See, it's saying like ecclesiastical and astronomical canons preserved by Cencelus and the celebrated canon of Ptolemaeus. Okay, so let me look this up. So let's see, who is Cencelus? I'm also noticing like with these episodes that I'm making, like the quality kind of like starts dropping like about like 20 minutes in, so I'm gonna have to make these videos a little bit shorter. Like it starts getting kind of blurry, but thankfully I like kind of zoom in on the video, but some of the detailed stuff is just kind of like hard to read. I'm noticing it's kind of blurry at the top of the screen, so I think that's because I have the video on too long. Okay, so hold on. Let me get some more information extracted. Okay, so Cencelus was a Byzantine monk and chronicler who lived in the late 8th and 9th century CE. He served as the Cencelus, literally cellmate or assistant, to the Patriarch of Constantinople, hence the name Cencelus. He is best known for his work on chronology, specifically titled Chronogophius. I don't know, it's just some Greek thing. Okay, so what does he have? Does he have, let's see, he have astronomical knowledge from Chaldaean? Let's see. Yes, it says yes. So George Cencelus and chronological concepts that likely drew upon earlier Chaldean, Egyptian, and Hellenistic sources, though his work primarily aims to integrate these ideas within a Christian framework. Okay, so I wonder if this book's gonna talk about it. Maybe it might. I think it might. So I guess yeah, ChatGPT is saying here that like it is like it does know that the Syncelus knew of the lunar cycles and solar cycles and the zodiac. This knowledge spread throughout the ancient world, influencing Greek, Egyptian, and later Roman and Byzantine astronomy. While Syncelus himself was not an astronomer, he had access to chronological and astronomical sources that likely preserved Chaldaean ideas. For instance, his chronicle draws on works like those of Eusebius of Caesarea, like what this book is saying, and Julius Africanus, who incorporated elements of Babylonian and Hellenistic astronomical knowledge into their timelines. Syncelus' use of these sources indirectly reflects Chaldean influence, as these earlier writers often relied on Babylonian data to develop their chronological systems. Oh, so that's like... That's interesting. So... they knew of like... I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail. I guess you guys can look into it. But yeah, that's what... I mean, that's what some historians now say. That these people, like Sumerians... I mean, that's what this whole Sumerian culture is all about. It has like really old knowledge of stuff. And just... they're saying it's a different empire that was like before all this Akkadian and Assyrian and all this stuff. But see, only like the churches and the I guess like the colleges or universities or whatever, or the libraries, they had all this knowledge, and the people in like those like high priests and stuff like that, like they had this knowledge that was given to them, or like they went through these books and stuff like that, and they knew that like in those lands there was like really old knowledge out there that was like really known, or like I guess it's like sensical. I mean, with everything going on right now, because this video is made in 2024. I mean, you're looking at like Elon Musk like going to space and stuff like that, and like, you know, it challenges like flat Earth ideas, or like I don't know, even like Earth theory. Like, if this is true, like can the average citizen go into space, and if so, like what's out there, like where you know, it's really interesting. I want to see where that whole thing goes, but like I said, this is 2024, so, or this video was recorded then, so it's just looking at you know, the Chaldeans had the oldest astronomical knowledge, and a lot of people took from that. But there's also like older, I guess not so much Christian ideas, but I don't know. Like, did people in East Asia really have any of this astronomical knowledge? I mean, I know I've read some books where I guess it wasn't so much like the zodiac or none of that. But I've also read that like some of the Indian temples have like a zodiac as well, and some of their stone carvings and stuff like that, which is really interesting, honestly. You know, does this like knowledge all come from one place? Is it possible? You have to keep just reading and doing research and whatnot, and really taking a look at old books like this, because these will really tell you what's going on. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish this page, and then end this video here, because I don't want to go too far into these videos now, just because of the video quality towards later on. Let's see, so I think we read this one. So, astronomical canons and the celebrated canon of Ptolemaios. So I'll have to look this up too, but besides some other notices of the successors of Nabonassar among the supplemental Chaldaean fragments, the first princes of the line appear to have fixed their residence at Nineveh, and among them we may recognize the Tiglath-Pileser. Isn't that correct? Oh, I think I already read all this. Duh. Alright, whatever, that's fine. Their race appears to have terminated in a Syracuse and a Sardanapalus. Nabopolassar, a successful rebel, right? So that's now the Chaldean, first Chaldean king, right? Began the last line of the Assyrian and the Chaldean monarchs. Alright, well, I'm gonna read more later. This reading was really actually insightful. Just kind of looking at like the transition between the lands of like the Sumeria, and then you have Akkadian, and then you have Assyrian, and then you have Chaldean, and then you have the Persian, I'm assuming, right? Yep. And then we start getting into more like I guess a real history, not so much legendary history or controversial history. But yeah, in any case, we'll definitely continue in the next video.